Is a river cruise on the Danube or river cruising in general on your bucket list? Then stay with us for this informative video about river cruising the Danube with AmaWaterways on the largest river cruise ship in Europe. My guest today is Sheri Clarke, co-owner of Picture This Travel, an award-winning travel agency based in Nashville, Tennessee and Kansas City, Missouri. Together with her partner Leanne, Sheri and their team of trusted travel advisors have been designing custom land and sea vacations for satisfied clients in Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, and across the U.S. Sheri makes her home in Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, Sheri. Welcome to RTE Travel Talk.
Hey, Ken, it's so great to see you.
It's great to be with you, Sheri. So, Sheri, people are starting to get back to travel.
Yes,
and one of the questions that I get a lot is people thinking about river cruising.
Mm-hmm.
Should I go? What's a river cruise about? What's the place to go? Now, I know that you have just recently returned from a really great-looking cruise aboard with AmaWaterways aboard one of their newer ships, AmaMagna.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you can enlighten our guests and viewers just what that river cruise was about and your recommendations for it.
Happy to. Listen, first, before I go into the Magna and AmaWaterways, let me just tell you, in my opinion, river cruising is the best way to see Europe. I mean, it really is. Just unpack one time, you're on a smaller vessel. So, anywhere between 100 and 200 people on the whole ship. It makes a lovely way to get through the interior of all of Europe. Think about it. These countries were founded on the rivers, right? So these cities, boats pull up to these small, beautiful cobblestone, towns that sometimes are not accessible through the ocean line cruising and are a little bit harder to get through when you're unpacking and packing, and going about them through the railway system. So in general, I'm a huge fan. AmaWaterways, again, one of my top that I like to go to in terms of the quality of food, ship, tours, drink, all the things. They do a fabulous job. And then you add their brand new ship, the Magna, on top of it.
Right.
And it's spectacular. So I've had the opportunity, this is my 7th river cruise. And I've traveled 4 different lines and they're all wonderful. And they all have their good points about them. But this ship is just another level. But one of the nice things, our ship actually held or holds 196 people. There were 51 of us on the ship.
How many?
So 51.
51. Wow.
As a travel agent who escorts groups on trips, I typically don't get upgraded. So this particular one, I actually did get the opportunity to upgrade myself and as to a suite, which we don't normally get to do that. And it's something we do pay for. We don't get complimentary, but to me, it was worth it. So because it's the first time we're able to do something and experience something that otherwise we can't do during normal travel. And that's the reason why I speak about it now, because people are a little nervous about traveling and they think maybe there's some, and there are some, obviously some disadvantages. You have to jump through some hoops. But what we have found as an overall, there's some advantages of traveling because of those type of things. You have upgrades available that perhaps would never be available before. We were traveling in a ship that was a quarter of the way filled. Still filled enough. We had a nice sized group, but still filled enough that we had fun that, there was one day, it was just me and my husband and one other couple. We decided to stay on the ship to enjoy the cruising part of the day while everybody took a long tour. And it was just the 4 of us. It was as if we had our own private yacht. I mean,
Wow.
You're going to get to experience that again, right?
So one thing I've noticed about the Magna, Sheri, perhaps you can comment on it for me. It seems to be wider than the average river cruise ship.
It is. So it is the widest river cruise ship out there. It's way it can only do one part of the river. So some rivers wouldn't be able to go on because when you go through the locks, there's only so much room, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, she's about double the size
and
her width, which again makes for some larger staterooms. They have more suites than most people have. There are some more suite available, and there's also more dining available. So typically on a river cruise, you're going to have your main dining, and if you're lucky, you'll have a secondary place to dine.
Right.
This particular one had 3 other specialty dining areas. So which makes for a really nice, 7-day cruise. You'll have different places to eat. So they have an alfresco dining, which they call alfresco. It's in the front of the ship. During weather that's permissible, they actually bring everything up. So you have all the windows open. So it does feel like you're outside, and they do have some outside tables. And they have a Jimmy's restaurant that's named after one of their founders, Jimmy Murphy.
Yes.
Had the pleasure of meeting at the Rayhead as well. And so that was more of a family style dining. And then they have another dining experience, which again, because there's so few people, my husband and I happen to be the only ones in there. It's called the chef's table.
Right.
We had the chef all to ourselves. He made an amazing dinner. And if I could talk to you about the food that's on Ama, oh my gosh, it's just so good.
So talk to me about the itinerary. You were on the Danube.
Yes.
Where did we go?
So we flew into Munich a couple of days early. Something we always do when we're taking a group, just we'll get ourselves adjusted to the time. If there's any hassles with our flights or anything, we'll have time to figure that all out. And I was obviously just to see Munich. We hadn't seen Munich. So we spent a couple of days there in Munich alone on our own. I had a fabulous tour of Dachau. It's hard to say fabulous with Dachau at the same time, but it's history and it's important to see and to recognize that. So, and then, toured around Munich itself. And then we transferred down to Wiesbaden in Germany. And that's where we boarded the boat. And we then went downriver to Budapest. So some of the main sites we saw was, of course, we saw Vienna, which is breathtaking. And then when the highlight of this trip always is when you go into Budapest and you see the Parliament building. During the day, it's awe-inspiring, but at night, it's breathtaking.
Right.
It just is. It's lit up all year round. This is not a Christmas time thing. Yeah. And it's just purely lovely. In between those highs, we saw a couple of smaller villages Passau. I actually got to see Slovenia, which I had not gone to anywhere in Slovenia yet. So that was a new country. I got to check off my little list there. But the nice thing about traveling right now, Ken, is everybody is so appreciative. The tour guides we met, they're so grateful to be back to touring and doing what they love. I mean, people that tour guides in these small cities, they love this. This is their history. This is their city that they want to show off, and so appreciative of us being out there. They're out doing what they love and they're working again, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's wonderful. So it was a 7-day river cruise.
Yes.
If you had to choose one, what was the highlight?
It's hard to beat that Budapest nighttime sailing. It is truly, I couldn't stop looking at it. So probably my bookends, the day, the Budapest at the end and my Munich in the beginning were, two really nice highlight cities for me. The Vienna, we were not there on a Christmas market, but Vienna happened to open their Christmas market a day early. So we did get a chance to see one Christmas market there. And that was really a beautiful thing to see as well. So I did a couple lives from there because I wasn't expecting to get to see that. And so I'm really excited to be able to share that with some of my friends and some of my clients as well back in the States. So we got some people pumped up for Christmas there in early November.
Oh, grand. That's grand.
Yeah.
So in every stop along the way, did AmaWaterways, did they provide tours?
Ama does a great job in that they allow you to choose whether you want an active, like a biking or hiking, or just more of the walking tours. And even within their walking tour, they have, just regular walking tour, average pace. They have one for slower walkers, and they have one for, fast walkers. So it kind of depends on your pace and what you want to go. So even with the limited amount of people that we had, they still broke those 4 different categories up. So you do have it's like a little bit of something for everyone. And they also keep bikes on their ship. So if you just want to get off and just say, hey, I'm just going to go off my own and bike around, I'll check y'all back when, come in. You can certainly do that as well.
And how do they handle the gratuities?
So gratuities with Ama are not included. So they are something that you can do at the end. You can put it towards your account. Of course, they give you a suggested tipping guide, as well as the same thing for the individual tour guides. You do tip them along the way. Okay. And you can, if you want to prepay those, so you don't have to think about it, all except for the tour guides.
I understand quite often that the river cruises sail at night.
Yes, they do.
So you transit most of your transfer down the river is at nighttime? That
is true.
So yes. Not a lot of scenery along the way on this particular.
So they do have a couple of days. They have a half day that we did during the day that the whole boat was on there together. Right. And I told you that there was one day that my husband and I decided to stay on the boat. Yeah. They were doing a tour of Salzburg, which we have already done before. It is a long day. It's worth it. Yeah. It's about a 9-hour day. But we looked at each other and like, we could do a massage and we could be on this boat the whole day by ourselves. We laid in our bed and we watched, and I had some work to do. So you can choose to do that, if you choose to, so we did the scenic tour, which this is not known for its scenery really until you get down closer into Budapest. Right. But it was lovely. I mean, we're boat people, so we love to be on the water. So it didn't matter what we were passing. We were on the water and we really enjoyed it.
Right on, right on. So
let me tell you about the drinks that are included. AMA includes an hour before the meal included, like, so an hour cocktail included. So
Okay.
one, which is nice. And then they really flow freely, the wine in the evenings. And then at lunch, you could also have beer and wine, or breakfast. I guess you could have, champagne and whatnot. I'm not a big drinker for the morning time, but they do offer it. And they usually, do the local wines and the local beers, which happen to go along with the meal. So that's a really nice little added bonus that you don't have to dig into your pocket for every time you want a cocktail too.
Right on. The one thing that I noticed on the river cruises that I've been on, as opposed to the quite often on the ocean cruises, is on the day that you go to depart, there's no sticker shock.
Correct. Yeah.
Because pretty much everything is included, including your wines and spirits, which well, in my particular case, it can get away from you if you're not looking.
Well, I've had some tabs in my day. Let me tell you, I've been doing this for 20 years. So there's some younger days I've had some tabs that were, not only that, but you got all your excursions included. So sometimes people get a little sticker shock when they see how much the river cruise costs as it compared to an ocean cruise.
Right.
But when you really start looking at the value of that, everything that is included is really nice. And that's what you get on a river cruise. It's one of the reasons why I love it.
Yeah, really nice. One thing I always like to ask, in terms of, on this particular river cruise, now you had your group, but what was the demographic on board? Is a river cruise something that you would recommend to younger people, Sheri, or is it more 35, 40 and up?
So here's the thing. I'm a big proponent, obviously, of using a travel agent. You really need to speak with your travel agent and share with what you want to do on your vacation. And then we can help you narrow that down. So to answer that question, there are some river cruises and some particular times and itineraries that might have only 60 and up. And in general, that's probably maybe 50 and up. That's probably the general demographics. However, there's a great river cruise that is for the millennial ages. And they don't include as much. There's also another one that may be more for the 30s and 40 group. So again, it depends on the itinerary, the time of the year. Speak with your travel agent about it.
If I'm hearing you, get with a great travel advisor and tell that travel advisor what you want.
Yes.
And they'll package something together for you.
Right. If you talk with a travel agent and they're not asking you those kind of questions, if you're saying, hey, I want to go on this river cruise because I saw it on TV, and they're not asking you any questions, please call another travel advisor, because they're an order taker. And I'm not, no disrespect to that at all, but really a good travel agent is asking you questions. They're saying, why do you want that one? Because you got to make sure it matches up. Right. And our agency happens to be travel agents that travel. So we have traveled all over the world. We go check out things for that particular reason, because when somebody calls us and they're not familiar, we're familiar. If I'm not familiar, Leanne, my partner's familiar, or the other 12 agents that we have, somebody has gone somewhere in our agency. And to us, that's really important.
Makes total sense. Total sense.
Yeah.
How did you find on this particular river cruise? Were you impacted much by COVID protocols, or?
We're now have enough people that have traveled enough places throughout the world that we can, we kind of know what's accepted, what's not, what to do. But in the beginning, it was a little dicey because it's new to us too, right? It's not like we have experience in this, and now we're getting more and more. So,
but the key thing is you now have the experience.
Correct.
And you can provide that peace of mind to your guests.
Right. We know what's worked. We know what.
Well, Sheri, this has been wonderful information. What is next on the agenda for you guys? Where are you off to next?
We're doing a quick little family trip to Savannah with the kids and their girlfriends, which we're really excited about, just to share New Year's Eve with them in Savannah, Georgia. So that's the next thing. But the next big trip with my company is we're taking a group to Israel. We're doing a Holy Land trip. So April 22. So we still have a couple spots left. So if anybody, is that something you've always wanted to do? We've got a fabulous Baptist preacher that's going with us. He's really great, and about 38 of us going. So we got about 2 or 3 more spots left.
Excellent. Lots of history in the Holy Land.
Goodness, I'd love to come back and talk to you about that once I've seen it. I have not been there. It is a bucket list for sure. And it won't be my only time going. I know that.
Well, that's definitely a date.
Okay.
We'll see you after the Holy Land. So with that, I'm going to just wish you and your team and all your travel advisors safe and happy travels in all your upcoming adventures. and may the wind always be on your back. And I hope to see you on a Lido deck real soon.
Very good, Ken. Same here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And that about wraps things up for today, folks. Special thanks to my guest, Sheri Clarke of Picture This Travel. I'll leave her links in the description for those of you that might like to reach out to Sheri or any one of her team. If you'd like to reach us, you can simply send an email to questions@realtravelexperts, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or just leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.